This is West Ham Unofficial. Come on, your Irons. Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well on this fine, what are we on, Sunday morning here in good old England. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all, I've been absent for a couple of days, back nearly to 100%, so I hope you've missed me. You probably haven't, but if you have, I'm here and I'm back. Before we get into our subjects for today's show, please check out our sponsors, SRM, Carver and Sun, by checking out their link in the description down below. Our fantastic channel sponsor here on West Ham Unofficial are SRM, Carver and Sun. SRM, Carver and Sun provides crushing, screening and aggregate recycling services across southern England. If you'd like to find out more information on SRM, please click the link in the description down below to check out more information on their website. Thank you very much to SRM, Carver and Sun for sponsoring West Ham Unofficial, and come on, your Irons. I'm joined today by a man that knows pretty much everything about darts. Would you say that, Paul?
Some things. We know a bit, and we just had to say a fantastic tournament. The Grand Prix is brilliant.
Yeah. So today's something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the World Grand Prix of Darts that ended in quite a dramatic and unexpected fashion, some people may say. But before we get into it, let's come into the chat and see who is in. Morning to everybody. Randy, I hope you are well. So we're overall on a whole. If people didn't watch it and perhaps aren't as much into darts, well, what did you make of the tournament on a whole, Paul?
Absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's normally based, of course, over in City West Hotel in Dublin, because obviously with COVID, PDC a few months ago weren't sure, so they had to make a decision. So they said it was going to be in Leicester, and of course, it's the only tournament that the PDC run, which is the double-in format. So I don't know if viewers how much they know, if they're interested in darts and whatever, but yeah, you got to hit a double to start, and of course that throws up lots of surprises, because it can, if your doubling's not quite, players who've got massive scoring power. Oddly enough, players who seem to do well in this tournament, who get a lot of stick for being not good double hitters, like Dave Chisnall, normally does quite well in this. So it's slightly odd, but the doubling format, and of course the first round being the best of 3 sets, so just 2 sets doubling. It's a minefield, and I said to a few friends, I said, I think we're going to see a lot of upsets in the first round, and we did see a lot of upsets. The likes of, Gary Anderson not playing that well at the moment, but so Gary went out, of course, Peter Wright went out, of course, world number top 3 player, of course, and then Michael himself went out. So that it was a dry run, really, maybe straight through for Gerwyn Price, of course, the best player in the world, world's number 1, world champion, but of course, he met his match in the final against a fantastic Jonny Clayton. And I love the tournament. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Look at some of the averages here. Wayne Mardell used to say, you've got to add on maybe 10 points to your average because you're losing darts, trying to get in. But some of the averages were unbelievable. And it was great to see that the crowd in the final last night, they didn't get on Price's back too much. So the Price, they're very good friends because they're World Cup darts winners. Last year, very good friends, and the atmosphere in the camaraderie on the stage, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant match, and Jonny Clayton thoroughly deserved that and was probably the best player all week. So, yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, well, most people like an underdog, but I sat back and last night and I thought he is the underdog, but let's not forget he's Premier League champion as well, and he played. Jonny Jonny Clayton played superbly last night. We'll go into all of it in a second, but I mean, they're mates, they're World Cup teammates, but it was just a fantastic match played, of course, in high spirits.
Yeah, it was, and you said about the mates, and you could tell that there was some. We mentioned a moment, but there's some moments on the stage that look, but when Price looked at Clayton, it's just almost like, are you going to miss? Are you? I mean, it was sort of head shaking sort of stuff. You've seen it in football, you've seen it in any sort of sport. When sometimes you think, is this really happening to me? Do you know what I mean? And I think in the third set when Price had, he's desperate to get a set back. He'd broken Clayton in the first leg. Of course, you've got to win 3 legs to win a set, and he's left a double. I think he left double top, and then Clayton sat on 170. Well, normally you think, the big fish, as they call it, that this is going to be 1 in 8, 1 in 10, 1 in 2, and of course he bangs it, and so they give each other a fist bump. So he's hit the 170. He's got the break back. So the next leg, Price, don't forget, it's double in. Price is left double 12 after 9 darts. It's astonishing, and Clayton is left 164, and he bangs that as well. A treble 20, treble 18 in the middle of the bullseye. Astonishing, absolutely ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen a 170 followed by a 164, but both times Price was sat on a double. He was right there with him, and then and I think probably the best part of the whole match was when the one occasion, I think it was only one occasion, Clayton didn't manage to get in on his first 3 darts, give Price a chance, and Price looked at him as if he said something. Say, hang on a minute. Yeah, what's happened? You didn't get in. Price that goes away with a 160, which is fantastic. Double top 2, treble 20. I'm in. Clayton goes in with a 152 on his next 3 darts, so double 16, 2 treble 20s. And if that's not enough, he finishes the leg on a 152, just reverses it. Treble 20, double 16. And it was, I'm going to say it again, it was head shaking. Like, Price must have thought, what have I done here? You're never going to win that match. Even in the last set, there was 100 plus checkouts. But Clayton is an I've met Jonny a few times. We worked with him a few times. He is part of the Modus camp, who I do, fortunately, lots of work with. And he's a generally really nice man. And I think it come across on the television. And I like Gerwyn Price as well. I know a lot of people don't, his antics on the stage, but I like it. I think it's good for darts. I think you need a bit of, you know what I mean? You need, sometimes it doesn't go over the top. And it made it a brilliant match last night. So they played with it in great spirits. And the thing is with Jonny Clayton, because even though he'd won, as you rightly said, Jake, even though he'd won the Premier League and he won the Masters in January in Milton Keynes, the thing is with those 2 events, they're not ranking the prize money, even though it's nice prize money, it's not ranking prize money. So going into this tournament, he wasn't even seeded. But now he's up to world's number 7 because that was a ranking tournament last night, which is obviously better for him. He's due to have, a better draw, for the World Championship, which is coming up and things like that. But he was a floating player down below, and he's not. He is in the top 4 players in the world now. You know what I mean? And he's number 7, and by the end of the World Championship, I'm sure he will be proving that and will be in top 4.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing that stuck out for me was they put up the averages for that set 3 where both of them were going at it, and it was something stupid like Gerwyn Price averaged like 115 in that set, and he still lost.
And lost the set, and this is double in. It's ridiculous, and lost the set, and it was. What I always say about Gerwyn Price, his timing is perfect. Sometimes he might just lob along in a sort of a game, and you think he's not playing that well. But in these critical points, in these critical times, he'll hit a big check, he'll hit a big double 1 dart, bang, and he snatches the set, or snatches the leg, or something like that. Well, last night it was Clayton whose timing was great. Even when Price was coming back, and you think, Clayton, is he starting to sort of slow down? Slow down is the right word. But then Clayton would come on, bang, and hit another big check, and it would sort of, he might have had an average leg, scoring wise, and get in first. But as soon as he was hitting the double first dart to get in, and first or second dart to get out, and you haven't got many trebles in between, and you're going to win that leg, and obviously win the set. And he won 5-1. It probably wasn't a 5-1 game, probably maybe 5-2, 5-3, but it's irrelevant. He got 5, and he is the Grand Prix champion of 2021, and he absolutely deserves it. And a real danger for in all tournaments now. He has to be spoken about in the same league as a Van Geuren, a Price, a Peter Wright, as a potential winner. That's 3 major tournaments in 2021. 3. That's great, isn't it, for him?
Yeah, definitely. And it's the way I thought he didn't let Price get going at all by just constantly, when we thought at times when it was in the 4th set and a couple of times, he went off, he didn't hit the treble 20 as much as he was in the first couple of sets, to be honest with you. But then, as you said, he come out of nowhere, bang, there's another 110 checkout. He just kept on going. And then one thing you don't really see from Price very often towards the end is he missed 2 at double top and then missed double 10. He was rattled going, Price.
He was, because he had to. I think that's right. He had to perform. He was under severe pressure just to try and get back in the game. And I just think, that look at that, whatever he said, when he said that, Jonny, when he missed the getting in, that's the only time he's given him a chance. When somebody's throwing, right, going for the double, throwing first, you think, okay, just maybe hit it on your 3rd dart. But it was first or 2nd dart relentlessly. Never made a mistake. It reminds me of somebody called, I think his name's Virgil van Dijk. You just wait for him, but no, he's just a step. Or maybe Dawson.
Oh, always have to mention him. Where is he? I need to find him. Have I got him? Yes, I have. There he is. You have to be mentioned.
So sometimes you want somebody to make a mistake. As I say, and in that Grand Prix of darts, somebody not, even if you throw first, that was the problem. Price was getting, say, 2nd or 3rd dart and go away with maybe 60, double top and a single 20 after he'd missed a dart at a double. Then Clayton would come out 1-5-2, 1-2 straight away, even on Price's throw. Clayton, I'm back at you, bang, 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 and he didn't let up. But the tournament was fantastic. I was really impressed with a friend of mine, Stephen Bunton. He made the semi-final. Yep. Former BDO winner. He's never won a major PDC title, but he made the semi-final of the World Championship at the start of the year, and great work from him. I'm just looking through a player not a million miles from where we live, Ryan Searle. He had a nice tournament. Of course, he took out Dimitri, who you've seen in Froome a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. But Danny Nopper played well. See, Michael Van Gogh wasn't a disaster against Nopper. He lost 2-0, but he did lose 2-0, and I think that aura of invincibility, well, it's definitely gone with Michael now. But there's some. We haven't perhaps got a player who's averaging ridiculous averages like Van Gogh was, or maybe the great Phil Taylor was before. But the amount of players who can average a really top average now, you're not going to win a World Championship averaging 100 all the way through, and yet 25 years ago you could win it averaging 85. That's the difference now. So the depth of these players is ridiculous, and you see it on the Pro Tour, the tournaments away from the camera. There's 9 darters from players going, I don't even know this man. I've never even heard of him, or even women as well, because the women's darts is flying as well at the moment with Fallon and Lisa doing so well in their series as well. So darts at the moment it's so strong, and the great thing is you don't know who's going to win a major tournament. In the past, you saw it was all Phil Taylor, it was all Michael Van Gogh. You don't know now. You don't know, and I think that's probably good for the game, really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously they're a very decent World Cup darts unit now with Jonny, Clayton, and Gerwyn Price.
Yeah, the Welsh are there. They're absolutely flying. I mean, there's some major tournaments coming up. In a few weeks, we've got the European Championship. We've got the Grand Slam of darts, which is a great tournament as well, which is now a ranking tournament. Of course, Gerwyn Price, that is won that a couple of times, and then of course we also have the Players Championship down at Butlins, which is it's just mayhem. 5,500, 6,000 people there for 3 nights. And that's a great tournament. Of course, and this is all before the World Championship, which starts in the middle of December. It's nearly the middle of October. There's lots and lots of coming. As well as the World Series of Darts finals, as well as Pro Tour events. So this is a major time. If you're going to pick a time of the year to to be absolutely flying in it with your form, this is the time of the year to do it. And say build up to the World Championship, and there's going to be there's going to be some tasty draws. I'm looking at the rankings here. A player I absolutely love and who's 2 times world champion, Adrian Lewis, at the moment is world's number 31. You know, he might not even make the world championship, you know, as a seed. I'm looking at, so at the moment, if the draw was done in the second round, I mean, things will change because there's these tournaments coming up when you have, and the rankings will change with the prize money. But it is an idea, you know, if he goes down a place, he's going to play Gerwyn Price in the second round. If he stays where he is, it'll be Peter Wright, and if he goes up a place, it'll be Michael Van Gerwen. So, in the second round of the World Championship, this is unheard of. And I think darts needs Adrian. I'd like to see Adrian sort of get back, because he is a phenomenal dart player, as natural dart players we've ever seen. But at the moment, that just shows how strong he is. He is world's number 31, mind.
Yeah. Let's have a look into the chat. FIFA, hope you will subscribe if you need the 170, 164 is crazy.
Absolutely.
I literally sat on the sofa and I went, he can't. He sat on double 12 or whatever it was, 1220, 1220, he can't. And I went like that. I sat back down. 2 minutes later, he was on WhatsApp 164. I looked at Mum and said, he can't do it. And he did it. And I was just in
absolutely
shock.
No. And that was such an important set. You know, Price had already broken him at the start of that, you know, in the first leg. So if he wins one of those 2 legs, he's going to be 2-1. He's probably going to make that set score 2-1, and he's right back in it. But he's hit those. I don't think I've ever seen a 170 followed by a 164 under pressure with the other player sat on a double. I mean, like you said, 115 plus average in that set, and he doesn't win it. It's ridiculous. I mean, just go home. You know, just forget it. You know, I would. Well, he was shaking his head, and rightly so. But in a good spirit. So well done to the players.
Yeah. In terms of the, you know, double in, double out, do you think that's what's one player you think suits that?
Well, the 2 players, some players, you know, I mentioned earlier on Dave Chisholm. People say, oh, he can't hit a double. Yeah, you know, he does. You know, he's made in the final of this event a couple of times. You would think somebody like a James Wade. Now, James Wade is a former winner of this event, and James Wade, you know, on double top and then on double 10. I think is probably the best we've ever seen it hitting a double top or a double 10. But so certain players, and Gerwyn Price, I think at double top is unbelievable, especially under pressure. Obviously, it didn't happen last night, but you know, we've seen it earlier on in the year. Jonny Clayton, I can't remember what tournament that was in, and he hit something like 10 out of 11 attempts at a double. And he proved it last night. If you do that constantly, hit that double, getting in first dart or second dart, you're putting the pressure on the other player straight away. Put it back, you know. But no, you have the pressure. And I think you have to say that, yeah, the 2 players in the final, I think you go a long way to see it as if we've got any players in the world better at in doubles. And they were both in the final. So rightly so. But it can just chuck up all sorts of drama, because say first of 2 sets in the first round, double in, before you know it, you're set down and you are really on the back foot. So anyone's game, but Price, Clayton, Wade, those sorts of players you'd always look out for at this sort of event. Yeah,
the one thing that did blow my mind was how Wayne Marder was like, you know, if he gets to 4-0, and he even Wayne Marder couldn't believe he was saying it. If he gets to 4-0, then he can start looking at the finish line, and it went 3-0. It was just incredible. Do you think the era of Van Gerwen winning everything has come to the end, and do you think that that's good for darts?
Yeah, no disrespect to Michael. Some people like that, you know. I've been at tournaments before when Phil Taylor would be almost a certainty to win it, and Van Gerwen would be a certainty. In that rumble around the arena or whatever, when they get knocked out in a world championship or a major tournament, is like all the other players step up. Like, hang on a minute, we can win this now. James Wade is. I think I'm right in saying that the great James Wade is he's won obviously I think around about 10 major, depending on how you class a major tournament, major title, say around 10. I don't think he ever beat Taylor or Van Gerwen in any of those. But what he would do when another player would beat them, he would be there to sweep up and then win those tournaments. But So that's sort of when the big name goes out. It's like maybe like the FA Cup, but no, I don't know. It's not like the FA Cup because you've always got a few teams you think can win it. But yeah, when the big name goes out, I think it's nice to have a bucket of players who you think any of these can win this. And looking at the World Championship this year, I mean, Prix could win it, Wright could win it, Van Gogh, and of course, he can still average 110, so he could win it. Wade has never made a world final. I'm not sure James Wade has got a World Championship in him now. Dimitri, is he ready at the moment? Gary, well, didn't play well, but made the final last year. Clayton, he could win it. I think Clayton could be world champion. Michael Smith, that's another player who I like Michael Smith, but you have to say he's underachieved, really. He's never won a big tournament, but all the potential in the world, like the next in the list, Dave Chisnell. So, yes, I think having a few players, I think it's good for darts, Jake. Long answer, but in the end, yes, it's good for darts.
Yeah. Rumoured that Paul is also a top auctioneer as well.
Yes, there was a certain shirt that went for a lot of money last week, a couple of weeks ago in Frome, wasn't there? Somebody that we auctioned off Dimitri's match worn shirt, and it went for an awful lot of money, which was good. Interesting. So,
and who's your pick to win the World Championships in a couple of months?
Gerwyn Price. I'm going to say Gerwyn Price. Yeah, I think he's going to retain it. I like it. I like after he got floored last night 5-1, but I think under pressure he is. Mind you, what the Peter Wright we saw in the World match play was unplayable. He was unbelievable then. People say, the World Championship is the big one, it's the hardest tournament to win. No, it's not. It's not the hardest tournament to win. In the first round, no disrespect, you're going to play a player who you should be comfortably beating, and by the time you play the other big boys, it's best of 5, 7, 9 sets, 11, 13 sets. You know what I mean? So it's not the hardest tournament to win. There's more players, but I think the match play or the Grand Prix is a harder tournament to win. But I'm going to say Gerwyn Price. He is the favourite to win it. He's the bookies. Well, the thing is, that's the great thing. Even that word we shouldn't mention, that those people who take the money, they don't know. It's all, and that's good for darts. That is good for darts. Somebody says Smith is one of the most players. Absolutely right.
I agree. Yeah,
absolutely right. He's an astonishing player. I can remember Dave Chisnell telling me that because up in up north when he was practicing, I think in a snooker club. Dave Chisnell was on the snooker table and he had 30 minutes. You put the pound in for the light or whatever it was, and for 30 minutes. And he said that Michael Smith was hitting as many 180s as I was having minutes on the snooker table. He said, so if I had 30 minutes on the snooker table, he was hitting in practice over 30 180s. He's an astonishing player, but always falls down. That's, I think
he does. He's such a natural thrower, and his rhythm with it is just bang, bang, bang. When when he's on form, he's one of my favourite players because when you get a fast player playing with him, the flow of it is and the fast pace of the game last night I found really enjoyable. But when he's getting the 180s, bang, 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 and doing it, but when he's not on form, he can be very wayward and
shakes his head a lot. He shakes his head a lot, doesn't he? And you sort of, I think the other players know that they've got him, but he is fantastic, and he will surprise. Well, not surprise us because we know he has the potential, but there's going to be a tournament when he is just going to. It's just going to all click together for him, and he's going to just blow over. Because whatever he does on the dartboard never really surprises me. And you don't know where you are with him. Is he going to perform there, or is he going to perform there? Some players you think, well, their A game is there. Well, Michael Smith could be anything. He could just be anything. But he perhaps just needs to win a big tournament, and that might just make all the difference to him going forward. Cracking player though, as your viewers said.
Yeah. James, I hope you are. Good to see you in hell. So thank you. Oh, you're real now. So I've got rid of it. I've passed it to you. Apologies. Stay healthy. Thank you very much. Who do I think is going to win? See, I'm going to ask you this first. Can you see at the World Championships, can you see there being being a big upset and somebody coming out of the blue again, perhaps like a Rob Cross from a couple of years ago?
No, I can't. Rob Cross, of course, even though it was a major surprise, it wasn't a major surprise. A few months before it would have been, but he was absolutely flowing in on the Pro Tour, and anyone who was watching darts behind off the TV would know how well Rob Cross was playing. And what Rob Cross done there, he beat Michael in that semi-final when Michael missed a few match darts, maybe 5, I think, or something. I can't remember. In that semi-final, one of the greatest matches ever at the Alexandra Palace, and then beat Taylor. This is like Taylor's sponsor. This is the end. This is Taylor's last match, and then he beat Taylor on it. When he wasn't meant to beat Taylor. So whatever happens with Rob Cross, and of course he has also won the match play. He did beat Taylor after he beat Van Gogh in the same tournament, and that's very, very impressive. But I can't see it. I just think, like I said, later stages, Price, Wright, Van Gogh, Clayton, I just think they're going to do. But looking at the seeding at the moment, Price and Wright and Van Gogh would be in the same half to draw. This is going to change. I don't even know why I'm saying it, really. Clayton would be in the same half to draw. So Gerwyn Price in the seeded at the moment would play Wade in the semi-final, and the last 8 he would play D'Souza. Of course, D'Souza's just a dangerous sort of player, but I think you take that in the last 8. But it's interesting where that goes. It's after the Players' Championship at Butlins, then they know their seedings. Then and people say they don't, but yes, they do. They look at it and think, oh, if I get through, I'll play him then. And some people can get a horrendous run, just to even get to the semi-final, let alone win the whole thing. But Price is almost. I think Price will be in the other half of the draw to Wright and Van Gogh. And I think even though Gerwyn Price is as confident the dart players you see, I think he'd like that he's not in that section. So,
yeah, he would like that, that's for sure. Anything else you'd like to add before we go, Paul?
Yes, I went to Liverpool, Man City last week.
You went? Oh, what did you make of it then?
That was fun. Obviously, like we said before, Liverpool losing a couple of players through injury, especially the right back Trent, of course. What he does and sort of pushes their fullback back in. Obviously, Milner had a bit of a torrid time, but we all talk about how class and everyone. I did watch Kyle Walker, and I thought, how on earth this player plays anywhere near the Premier League? Astonishing. He was absolutely terrible. He was absolutely horrendous. Couldn't pass the ball. And then my favourite moment, apart from the Salah, what Salah done, they had a free kick 25 yards out, and Kyle Walker took the free kick. That's Man City. They got Kevin De Bruyne. I think, what is going on here? No, I shouldn't say that, but without his pace, but I thought he was horrendous. But I love watching the City Liverpool games because the pace it was just brilliant, and 2 fantastic teams there, and long way to go in this Premier League, but no Premier League this weekend because we had Andorra against England.
I know. My choice was to watch the football or the darts, and I'm glad I watched the darts in the end because we all know we were going to beat Andorra. It was just by how many we were going to beat them by. Yeah,
it is. And I know it's World Cup qualifiers, and they're talking about World Cup every 2 years. What's that rubbish all about? Why would you even get involved now? I said it before, and we laugh and joke, but international football just bores me crazy. But especially with the passion of the Premier League. And your boys are doing all right. I'm looking. You're about 7th, Jake. Where am I looking?
Around there, about 9th, I think. Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Well, you're on 9th. You're on 9th. Are you happy with that? Well, of course, you shouldn't be top of the league, but that's okay, isn't it? Yeah. We're doing okay. I think most West Ham fans would have took the position we are now. We are playing well in Europe. We are unbeaten in Europe so far, which we'd all like. We're through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. We beat good old Manchester United. We got our revenge on them, which everybody liked. Well done.
Thank you. Premier League were a bit shaky. We've got Everton next weekend, which is a crucial game because if we lose that, then that's 2 on the bounce, and then two losses on the bounce, and then it can slowly go down. Playing Thursday, Sunday. But we've maintained ourselves really well so far. I thought.
Yeah, it is. The top looks quite strong. I mean, Man United have got a fantastic run of games coming up, haven't they? We'll see how good they are. They haven't played in, so. Yeah, so we will see. I mean, Chelsea, people keep talking about Chelsea. I think player for player, first 11, I don't think Chelsea are as strong as Liverpool or Man City, but they've got a great squad there, haven't they? But there's some, there's going to be some fantastic matches coming up. And let's get this done and forget these international breaks. You get a run, and then they put that rubbish in the middle of it, and I'm like, just forget it.
I don't mind it too much. I don't mind it too much because we've got a very thin squad, and it lets our older players that don't go off into international duty. You know, Soufal stayed at home because he's picked up a slight groin niggle, which isn't fun. But it's actually right for, we've got the likes of Bonner, Soufal, Bowen, not Yarmolenko because he went out, Mark Noble, Manuel Lanzini. We've got all these players that are staying preserved at Rush Green, which is quite nice to see as well.
Yeah, it is, and Liverpool's got a thin squad as well as the other. And I find obviously with Trent and Thiago, who they would have played against City. Trent gets injured, and they bring in James Milner, who's probably 6 years older than me. Even though Milner he's fantastic for Liverpool, not at right back when they play against Foden and things, and that's the difference. So hopefully, and then you look on and you see the new, and you think, oh, hang on, is Jota's not playing for Portugal? Has he got an injury? You're like, oh no. They don't need that because back Liverpool actually, apart from it right back, they've got cover everywhere. But up front they are because obviously thin with just really four. Because I suppose you can include Origi, add him in, but if you lose Salah, Mane, and Jota, and you don't. Are
you going to struggle in the African Cup of Nations? When the likes of Mane leave in January?
Yeah, I was looking at that. Depends when they actually leave, because I was looking at this. If they could leave, I'm not sure when they want them now. Whether they want them more than a week in advance, because Liverpool could have they could play against Chelsea, I think, on New Year's Day, and then go. And I was looking at this about missing 6 or 7 games. Well, a couple of these games are going to be FA Cup third round, and maybe the next round of the Carabao or whatever. They would miss, I think, I looked at something like a game against Brentford and a game against Palace, something like that. That would be it. But it depends on how long they want them there and how long these teams, Egypt and etc., go in the tournament. But if you make the semi-final, even if you get beaten in the semi-final, you've got to play that ridiculous 3rd and 4th place playoff on the same day as the final. So if you get to the semi-final, you might as well be in the final. You know what I mean? I don't know how quickly they can come back in play, but yeah, we could do without that. Because and did you see how wonderful was that? They gave Ronaldo Player of the Month. Have they not seen Mohamed Salah? Have they not seen what's been going on? I was like, oh my god!
Oh, it had to happen, didn't it? For goodness' sake! So Man United Twitter could go, "Oh, welcome back to the Premier League, Cristiano Ronaldo." It was written as if whatever he did, he was going to get Player of the Month.
It was. Salah must be. I don't know where's Salah, but. Going back just to recap, that was just not so much the first half, but that second half, Man City, Liverpool. I've said it before. Friend of mine who was a professional in another sport. He's funnily enough a Newcastle fan. He said, a very knowledgeable man said to me, the greatest standard of football I've ever seen in the Premier League is in the last few years when Man City played Liverpool. He said, better than anything I've ever seen, and that's a very unbiased opinion. And I watched that in that second half the other day. Just unbelievable. Obviously, people have their own opinions about Arsenal, Man United, in the early 2000s and whatever. But it was great to be there. Fantastic that was.
Yeah. A couple of questions come in. Kieran says, does Paul think the standard of darts is higher now than in the Bristow era?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know darts, the way the darts are made, they tailor things, and maybe the trebles maybe a bit thicker without those great big wires. I remember seeing a thing as a player in the late 70s, early 80s called Alan Evans, a great Welsh player, back to the Welsh players. And I saw a thing on TV, and I was talking. He said, this man over the last 2 days in shows hit 16 180s. 1600, and I just think those players practicing now, they be doubling that in a couple of hours. I mean, so the standard there, Bristow was unbelievable. Eric's day, 5 times world champion, 5 times world finalist with dartitis. He was unbelievable. But the averages to win tournaments were in the early 90s. Now you wouldn't get anywhere near winning a World Championship like that. But as I say, the trebles were smaller and the wires were thicker, so to actually hit. So, but yes, and the amount of players who can play at that high level is there's far more of them. But that era with the Bristow, the John Lowe, and the Jockey Wilson was brilliant as well, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Luke, I hope you are well. Got wet at football this morning. Oh, I don't miss them days. I can't lie. I don't miss them. Right, we've been told to stay away from the pies when we go to Everton, so we won't be eating no pies. Thanks for that, Mandy. Scored a couple now. Sat at a dining table, doing some painting. I hope you're helping with that, Lou, because I'm sure all of your artisticness is coming out to help your daughter do some painting after scoring a couple. I'm sure that's what's happening. But boxing happened. Did you watch the boxing? Did you stay up at any ludicrous time to watch that at 20 to 5 this morning, Paul?
No, I'm not a boxing fan. So no, not for me.
Well, the English contestant won, and that's all about I know. I've seen the knockout, and it looks pretty conclusive. But yeah, I don't know a huge amount about boxing, but the whole world and the whole of Twitter seems to be blowing up about it. So we will leave that there. Anything else you'd like to discuss, talk about now?
We're all good. All good thing. I'm all good, Jake. I think we've covered everything. Been great.
We have indeed. We are going to be talking about the boxing, about West Ham's international break so far tonight at 7, talking about a very emotional Lucas Fabianski playing his last international game for Poland last night. So we'll be talking about that, the boxing, because we've got somebody who actually knows stuff about boxing, because I haven't got a clue. No chance I watch West Ham YouTubers because they don't bust me about. Brilliant, Luke. Thank you very much. That's comment of the day, and that's going to end the show. Paul, thank you very much for your insight and coming on to discuss all things darts and Liverpool today.
Lovely. No problem at all, Jake. Thank you very much for your time. Great show as always.
Thank you very much. And from me, come on, you Irons. Big up Craig Dawson. And we will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys. 7 tonight, 7 on West Ham Unofficial. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.